How we doing, everyone? That's us finally here, 30 days in, post-split. We're going to spend the next little while having a chat through some points. This is going to be the first ever scripted video, so I've got some bullet points written down and organised everything to kind of take you through, so I kind of stay on topic, okay? So the last 30 days, guys, have been absolutely crazy. It's been very eventful if you've been here before the split was announced or anything like that. And certainly if you've just joined on since then, I suspect you've had a good bit of fun as well, because the market's just been going up and up and up and up, which has been incredible. So the first thing I'm going to take you through is my transaction history for the period. Right now, you'll see the period here is from the 17th of March, right, and that is the day before the announcement of what the details of the split were going to be. Pardon me. So that's more of a 6-week kind of overview. So you can just see how much has been sold, how much has been bought, all this type of thing, just over that whole period. Because really, even though we're only really specifically looking at the last 30 days, it's really been since the last 6 weeks. And so we'll touch on some of those numbers as we go through. The main numbers that I always kind of highlight to you guys on videos, just for your own information, if it's not something you're catching a glance of, is the footy, the market cap. So you'll see that there at the top right hand side of the screen. This is a screenshot from a video I done on the day of the news coming, the same day that just showed you the transactions for. So the market cap's in at 67,968, and on that day it's up 184. So the day prior to that, you're looking at it being just over 66, which is a good market cap. And like I've said to the guy, if you've been watching the videos a while, last March 2018, the market cap when I joined was like 13,000 or something like this. So from that point to this point here, you're talking about 500% market growth, which is just incredible, And you'll see that's a similar enough trend kind of continue in terms of just the raw numbers rather than the percentages. The market cap as we sit today is at 87, basically 87,500, right? That's a total increase of 28%. I've got it written down already, okay? Now, the day the market opened on what we called New Year's Day, right, the market cap was 77,617, so it was a nice incremental kind of halfway for when the announcement to the event happening, and then bringing us up to date here, 67 and 77 and 87, so it's been steady growth, and it's been significant as well, so what that basically shows you is when you look at the top players in the market, and I mean my top is the most expensive, when the market cap like this is increasing, they are always going to feel a positive effect of that. Now, don't get me wrong, you can look at the market and you might see guys like, I don't know, like Pogba and Neymar maybe took a bit of a slide since the post a bit, maybe took an initial pop and then they've kind of slid away. But by and large, those two guys pre-split were a big reason for the split, because they broke the £20 and like £22, £23 kind of barriers. So a lot of the money has kind of moved away from that very tippy top, but just getting funneled into the top 5 players: Pogba, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, and then maybe somebody like a Sancho, or I'm trying to think of, Ronaldo was up there a while ago, he's not been up there for a good while now. Rashford, these types of players, and it's getting funneled down to cheaper players where people can see great potential percentage-wise to make a good bang for their buck. Now we're saying there we've got a market cap increase of 28%, right? As you'll remember, I picked up a bit of a snippet of information from one of the Football Index official channel videos, where they said if you owned one future in every player on the index in the whole of 2018, you would be up 19% total, including capital and dividends, right? So in this period, the market itself has increased by, funnily enough, 28%. Okay, now where have you heard 28% before? I'll answer that one for you. And the increase to the dividend yield, when they changed the dividend structure for the post, that's what it said. On average, you'll be 28% better off. They also said they increased their user base by about a third as well throughout this whole saga of announcements and market changes and whatever. So all these numbers are all married in pretty nicely. The dividend one is mildly a coincidence, but when they tell you the user base has went up by roughly a third, and then over the first initial 30 days, the market itself has grown by just under a third, 28%, then it just shows you that the market itself is going from strength to strength. And in that email that we had about summer promotion, you see they mentioned that they're going all out with advertising. They're trebled their budget over the summer. And they had an advert on the Man City game tonight. I didn't catch it myself. I did see the game, but I didn't see the advert. I think I ended up putting some dinner in the oven or taking it out, or something like this. But as that continues to happen, as they start to outreach and grab more users and more people join the index, and or even the people who are here continue to make money and continue to reinvest and add additional capital into it, then the safe players, the top 20-ish certainly are very, very safe holds, and then what that also gives you is when people have success from dividends, which we'll get to in a minute. They're then more likely to think, right, well, where's the next player who could be this in a year's time, in 6 months' time, whatever. And they start shopping, basically bargain basement, players that are like 40 pence, 80 pence, £1.10, even Ericsson at £1.80, for somebody's a bargain, Some of you don't know how bitter I am to see that today. The first time he's done anything, it's been so long since we got him, and had the whole saga, but anyway, I'll move on from that. So, if you want to have a look at the dividends, this is New Year's Day, right? So the dividends we've got is £91.11, okay? And if you look at the dividends we've got today, we're up at 127, which is an increase of £35.90, which is a 39.4% increase, okay? Now, a portion of that will be to me stocking up a bit more heavily on div magnets, and been quite fortunate with the way fixtures have went, and just that they've performed the way you would hope and wish that they do. Guys like Van Dijk, Hazard, Sterling in particular. Ronaldo's back to something not really in the last 30 days of note, but these are the three guys, I'm telling you, I've earned £35 more in dividends. Hazard and Van Dijk account for probably £25 of that, yeah. And then you've got Sterling thrown some in as well. So, and then you've got the IPDs, goals and assists, and all that type of thing. We did pretty well with some of that stuff on top as well, with some other players. So it's partly because I've stacked up more, as I say, on big players. I've had it strategised out between Champions League, Europa League, who's got single days, double days, that type of thing as well. Okay, now when they changed the dividend structure, that was one of the things they said, was that the dividend structure was going to mainly benefit the single and the double. Yeah, they were getting the biggest percentage of increase, I think. The treble got a bit of an increase as well, but particularly the single made a big difference. So pre-split, the numbers were 4, 8 and 12 for single, double and treble match day on just the best players. Star player, I forget off the top of my head exactly what it was. I think it might have been 246. Yeah, 18 pence I think was the best you could. Yeah, so 12. Yeah, so 246 it was. So you treble all these numbers by 3, and that's their equivalent post-split to pre-split. So the single match day went from being 4 pence, 4 pence, to being 6 pence, which is a 50% markup. On that. And guys like Hazard and Van Dijk have been, we've had treble match days out of them as well in the Champions League and whatever, which has been great, going from 12 pence to 15 pence. But when we've had Hazard on like a Monday night, and we've had, I think Van Dijk's maybe played a Wednesday that wasn't the Champions League, and these match day opportunities where you've got A, less competition to win the thing, and B, a much better percentage or a much better reward for having players in those fixtures, has become much more profitable and much more appealing. The numbers you see right at the top of the screen are kind of chopped off. 3 pence, 2 pence, 1 pence is the treble media day breakdown. I just couldn't fit it all on the one screen. Okay. The next thing I wanted to kind of talk to you on is what I've just basically called a changing tide. Okay, now the increase list here is pretty good for explaining some of the things we want to talk about, positive and negative, right? But if you look at certainly the Bernardos and the Sanes, Van Dijk, Griezmann, these types of guys that are rising up in this list here, now Mbappe, Zaha, it's off the back of match day performances, them earning dividends, they're in good form, and that's where money's starting to head towards. People like Bobby Duncan, I've not actually looked to see why he's up 12 pence, if he's been linked to get a start in the team or something, I don't know. guys like Robert Skov and the Salzburg boy, I can't pronounce his name there. They're media related, but we're getting less of the Mason Greenwood situation where it's just some random or Tahi Chong, and what was the other one? Oh, Jesus, there was another one. Can't remember who it was, but just these random, and you get it still with Mbolo from Benfica, and there's a few guys that just they don't warrant the price that they're sitting at, and that has started to shift away. That has really started to become less and less. And don't get me wrong, they're still here, like Ryan Brewster, look at the price of him there, but in terms of those sharp, massive runaway trains that you get on some of these guys, and people are just picking them up, picking them up, picking them up, that's really slowed down. And you notice more, it's all about actual dividend potential, is what is capturing players and pushing players up the marketplace. And as I see this guy Curtis Jones from Liverpool. I don't know why these Liverpool players are. Somebody can educate me if they want in the comment section. I really don't mind. But it's all basically, there's Mbalo there. But it's really around players who are Kimmich, guys who are unlikely to be bagging you dividends and doing something. So we're getting a bit of a sea change. The market has kind of self-corrected itself on this kind of thing, because it was getting a wee bit ridiculous and a wee bit annoying for a lot of serious football fans who are kind of getting into the index and seeing guys that are like £6, and it's like the guys never kicked a ball in the league, and then you've got somebody like Krzysztof Piaczek here, who's bagging goals for fun and having the season he's one of the breakout stars in Europe this year, and his price by comparison is a laugh. It's absolutely a joke. So the market is starting to correct itself out and iron itself out, which is great to see, and that makes, again, the platform and everything so much more stable and viable. Because if it is self-correcting like this, then because Football Index can't go on doing promotions and announcements and massive split share changes, and they can't do this all the time to stimulate the market. The market has to stimulate itself off the back of events based on the framework that it's been built around, football, media, match day performances, all this type of thing as well. And the Champions League is a great example of that. When you've seen people getting knocked out of the Champions League, that's them then losing a session of treble match days that other people are available for. So you always notice a steep hit when people get knocked out quarterfinals and semi-finals based on my experience last year. But it was night and day, by comparison. Some people just absolutely got destroyed on getting eliminated from the Champions League, and it's made the Ajax team in this so valuable. If you've got guys like Neres and De Jong and De Ligt and Van de Beek, and these guys, because they've got those treble match days, even though they don't have any other qualifying matches, but they've still got a treble where it's basically another match, and there's great potential there for them to do something and really earn, and then you've then got transfer speculation to fall off the back of that, so they became much more attractive, these ones that can grab media. Now, on that same note, as much as I'm saying that it's all about dividends, right, what you start to notice as well is this kind of sea change, the change in the tide. The people are actually seemed to be Angel Gomez. That was the other boy I was thinking of. But they're starting to move on players who have got likely a good ability to go capture media dividends in the summer with the top 5 structure that they've announced. Okay, so it's all about dividends, bottom line, but you will start to notice now if you're stacking up on people because they're scoring goals, and guys like, for example, like just trying to think of a good one off the top of my head. I was going to say Aguero, we didn't score tonight, but those types of people who are not going to be transferring, they're not going anywhere. It's very unlikely you're going to get much in terms of press in the summer or whatever, just match day magnets. Then you will start to notice their price wane, probably, if not dip. Depending on who it is, of course, some of them will still continue to rise and hold on tight. But people will want to move their money into areas where it's going to earn them dividends. That is the name of the game, is earning dividends at the end of the day, and that's why the prices are stimulated. The more likely they are to attain dividends, the more the people want to buy them. That's what pushes the price up. So, you can't have one without the other. You can't just sit on somebody and think, I'm just hoping for his price to go up. There needs to be something that's going to drive his price. It's not a coincidence that the top 200 players here all have some sort of credibility about them in terms of stature and potential and dividend potential, certainly underpinning everything in them. Okay, so that kind of what I've kind of called that when I've made my wee notes is Wonderkid Syndrome. You know, I've noticed that starting to die out a little bit. It's still there, and it will always be there with hot prospects because everyone wants to be first to buy somebody who they think is going to be the next, you know, Hazard or Felix or Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, whoever you want to think about, you know. But that's just, it's a big market change, and it's one that you should take a lot of confidence out of, that, you know, using your football knowledge and really playing things sensibly is going to reap rewards, because the market is just as smart as you are, and the corrections that the market's made itself and the focus that the people at Football Index in their wisdom have done is drive it towards dividends even further. Then we'll stand in a good place the longer you hold certain players, and now, you know, going forward, which is great. So what's kind of next? What's kind of on the horizon? Okay, so we've kind of spoke about all the main bits and pieces that I want to chat to you about, right? But the next one is we're talking about media, right? And one thing that is maybe not necessarily been overlooked, but something you might not have actually delved into too much detail about. Me personally, I mentioned the Nations League as often as anyone else because it's a qualifying competition, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity to have some sneaky moves with some of your futures. Okay, but the Copa America, guys, is 100%, yeah, is 100% going to earn you dividends over the summer. Okay, now it's not a qualifying competition, don't get me mistaken here. Okay, you're not going to earn best defender and all that type of thing, but I'll tell you a little anecdote. Right, when I was doing the index, must have, like, say, April or May last year, I think it was Ryan Giggs' first game in charge. It was one of his first games in charge, but it was a big hoo-ha. Will Gareth Bale play for Wales and China? I think he just came back from injury and maybe wasn't in the best terms of Real Madrid. Usual Gareth Bale story. But he went to China, and I think he scored 2 goals and Ramsey got 1 or something like that. And for 2 days, off of Wales beating China, Gareth Bale won media. Okay. Now, you might be thinking, why am I telling you that? There was nothing else in the news, right? And this was, you know, at the time when, again, transfers are all the thing and whatever, but not every day of the week is going to have big, massive transfer stories, right? Now, don't get me wrong, a massive portion of news is going to be transfer centric, but when you've also got a Nations League and a Copa America going on, what happens in them, especially in the latter stages, quarters and semis and the final, is any big media players that we've got in that. You look at the Group A here, so we're mainly looking at Brazil and thinking about guys like Neymar, Firmino, Coutinho, Jesus, you know, guys that have British media presence. Try to think of anyone else off the top of my head. Richarlison, you know, then you can expect to see them getting some media attention. And there's top 5 places, guys, so there might be a bunch of them finishing third, fourth, and fifth in random orders every now and again, depending on who's scoring and what team's progressing. You look at Group B, we've got Argentina. I'm pretty sure Messi's not going to be at it, but again, you've got guys like Dybala, Aguero, Di Maria if he's actually ever fit. And Argentina have got a few players kicking about that, you know, are present within the media. Same with Colombia, you know, I think Falcao will probably be in the squad, but I wouldn't bank on him starting or doing too much. But guys like James Rodriguez, whose future's still up in the air, is he staying, is he going, is he sold, what's going on? And in the bottom group, Uruguay, not really too much, you know, Cavani, Suarez, you know, if they go and score hat-tricks against Japan or Ecuador or whatever, then you'll get a bit of love in the news from them. But otherwise, there's nothing really much going on with Uruguay. Maybe Jimenez, maybe he'll get linked to some transfers again because he's quite well respected throughout Europe and top managers have a good opinion of him. Excuse me, sorry guys. So, yeah. So I'm going to make 3 recommendations on players that you might not have thought about that Copa America will probably do you a good turn on. Okay. Now the first one, it's really going to pain me to say this. The first one is Alfredo Morelos. Okay. He's been in the Colombia squad the last 2 games. He's played some minutes. He's having a good season with Rangers. He's young. Falcao's going out. Him and Zapata, Muriel are probably the top 3 picks, you know, to start in any games, especially if you look at Colombia's group. Qatar, Paraguay are quite a weak team, and also Argentina will be tough. But if this guy does anything in that group stage, scores a goal, wins them a match, gets sent off, anything, he will garner media attention. Now he's out of the top 200 now, but if you look at his 3-month graph, he was pushed into the top 200 on very little. You know, he gets some transfer speculation up here. The Rangers might sell him, but he's Alfredo Morelos, he's not a man. I, it really pains me to recommend this guy in any fashion. It's not a recommendation, but you understand what I mean. The guy does have a strong media presence, and if he's in the top 200, he will bag media points. It is a fact. If he does do well, Colombia, let's say they get to the quarterfinals, he's maybe scored 2 or 3 goals. It will then underline what people maybe think they see when they watch him play for Rangers. Like, it's a good goal scorer, and he could get a move to a Bournemouth or a West Ham, or something like that, or maybe even a team abroad. Who knows? But he's somebody that, because he's on that down now, he's down at 81 pence, he's peaked out at, I don't know, let's just call it 105. That is a solid 25 pence, roughly, It also it's 24 pence exactly, but that blue line, we don't know exactly where it goes to, which is closer to a third than anything else of his actual price now, on top of any dividends he might bag in that time. So it could be a good time to buy, and it could be something that you profit from significantly if he does end up with a move off the back of anything from Colombia. The next person I'm going to recommend to you, or highlight to you as I like to say, is Guillermo Marapan. Okay, now if you've not heard of this guy, he's had a pretty good season. He plays for Alves, he's a centre back. Alves are having a great season. They had Pellegrino. The guy was a Southampton boss, he had him as manager, he got them promoted, they did pretty well, he got the Southampton job, that didn't work out, but they've kind of gone from strength to strength since then, they've not really waned, and as you can see there, they don't score many goals, they not exactly get the best defensive record, but it's stable enough to keep them well out of danger, and just by fortune with teams like Villarreal and Celta Vigo not doing too great, Betis are down there as well, Levante aren't doing too great, they've managed to get themselves into 8th with a chance of European football. If we look at the boy himself, Marapan, he's the best player in the team, averaging 7.2, which for a team that's conceded more than a goal a game is pretty good going, I'd say. His actual stats aren't amazing. Tackles per game is brilliant too, especially for a team that in La Liga will be defending a lot and that type of thing as well. But shots and dribbles, he's just a centre back, 2 goals, 2 assists, that tells me he goes up for set pieces, maybe knockdowns, his assists, this type of thing. And then the last one is David Neres. Okay, now he's been in the Brazil team again quite recently, and obviously we all know what's going on with Ajax. Okay, now if you look at the 3-month graph here, obviously he's been going on a nice big lovely upward turn, but you'll see there's a wee cheeky dip at the end there, and this is what we see. So he's went down from 232 down to 213. So with Ajax playing Spurs again, if this guy does anything positive in the game, he will then be going to Copa America. If there's not a transfer sewn up by then, going to the Copa America and playing for Brazil, but almost guarantee Ajax get a healthy transfer fee for him and he'll move on somewhere. So with him having a pre-established ceiling of 232, according to that candlestick, touching on to 240, getting him then out at 213 is a no-brainer, really. Especially the Champions League coming back on the horizon. The closer you get to that match, his price will recover, and I must not recover all the way to like £2.40 or 232, but it will certainly make an upward movement from 213. It's not going to go backwards, certainly. Okay, so that's the video I wanted to touch on today, guys. The first 30 days post split. Okay, I'm not probably going to be dropping another video for a couple of days. I told you I've got a wee trip to go on, so I'm really going to be promoting this video as much as I can over the next couple of days, just so you guys can watch it. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I've taken my time to really lay this one out, and I really want a lot of good feedback on it in terms of comments, what you've liked, what you've noticed, what you hate, over the last 30 days with the split. And then the second next video we'll go through all those comments, and we'll kind of have a community kind of reaction kind of thing set up from it. Okay, so if you're new around here, guys, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment please like I've asked. If you find me on Twitter, like, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one, wherever that might be. Take care, bye bye.